prior to the elections, we had this hope being created in an average Nigerian that this election will come differently. And in fact, I think Catch Them Young Community Initiative was fully involved in it because we anchored a Vote Not Fight in the Southeast, where we also take measures of activities that happened in the region. So, but it turned out to be a kind of disappointment to majority of Nigerians, where that have been anticipating to get it right this time around because people's mind were prepared. Take for instance, during the PVC registration, down to collection and all of that, you see how massive it was, especially at the part of young people. They were motivated because they are expecting something differently. Nigeria wants to do something differently other than how they were doing it before. So young people came out. We were also on top of the game that time because we mobilized young people to actually come out and register and as well as collect their PVC and vote. So it was massive. It was massive across Nigeria, but the result was so demoralizing that it spies up a whole lot of problems across the nation. And so that is where we are today, where the presidential candidates are in the court, APC, PDP, APM, Labour Party, and so on. If you count the ones that withdrew their petitions and all of that, it's them. There were many. And aside that, you see governorship tribunal petition ranging from 1 to 25. 25 of them are in court out of 36, right?
That's 36 for the entire country.
Yes.
But not all elections, not all states had their gubernatorial election on the 25th, because that's the most so virtually every state that had an election for the governors are in court.
So that's basically what I'm trying to portray. So you see, the thing didn't turn out fine for Nigerians. So the hope of Nigerians are being mad with irregularities in that election, and the architect of this madness. Let me use that word, madness. It was madness because some people got traumatized. Some had psychological problems. Some committed suicide. Some wanted to say, no, we are going to do it like this. We won't cause problem. We want to do that. This thing is not, the result does not reflect the minds of an average Nigerian. So people were about to protest that time. So it was madness on the aspect of produced result. So, and the people at the helm of that is the umpire. In fact, when we are talking about vote not fight, election no be war, we were relating it to young people. Young people, please now,
because they are going to be the tools that will be used.
Do you get it? But this time around was electronically violated. Human attitude, behavioral attitude, I don't know how to put it, behavioral attitude, human attitude. These are the two key things that they marred this election with. So, personal interest, let me put it that way, personal interest marred in fact, jeopardized the millions of Nigerians' interest. So, please let me run. So, what I'm trying to say is this. If umpire could be at the helm of, could be at the forefront of violence, what will an average
the electorate
do? When you are telling them, vote not fight, election no be war, and they have seen that the preaching, most of them has owned they've actually owned that campaign, vote not fight. They were preaching it. Not until the umpire get us into where we are.
No, let's hear from Ifeanyi.
Okay, just before you answer that question, it's still in connection with your answer. Ifeanyi, let's come to you. Now, given the controversies that surrounded the election, just like also has enumerated some of them now on the 25th of January this year, I think there shouldn't be any doubt that the electoral umpire, INEC himself, that they would try to salvage their name. They would try to, see that their reputation, which has been, smeared in the mud, that they try to build it and make something reasonable out of what is left of that.
Well, ideally, that is what ought to be. But what is will be dependent on the outcome of the off-season elections. What ought to be in ideal situation is that by now, INEC would have taken stock, where we got it right, where we didn't get it right, where we got up to 50% half mark, where we didn't get up to 50% half mark, and then try to see what they can do. But it's unfortunate that in our clan and in our clan, do these things actually happen that way? Remains a question. Because if from 1999 till date, we're still having issues on the electoral process, ranging from how candidates emerge and all the intrigues, how the electoral laws, the act establishing INEC and our constitutions are always at conflict with each other. They're always at conflict. For those who will understand, they know. And then, how do we arrive at the final outcome? Because the law says that for one to be declared a winner, he must have the highest number of valid votes, a certain percentage coverage.
24 out of 36.
A certain percent, no, not
25% in 24 states across 36. Yeah.
And
federal capital.
The question now is, why is our laws running in conflict with each other? The issue of and or. Do we now treat federal capital as a state of its own, or is federal capital treated on the stand of federal capital? These are issues for law to interpret, and we look forward to a situation where the possible judgments will help streamline this area. We had the likes of Ozokome portray some stand. We also have the likes of other learned men, professors of law, telling us that you can't treat FCT as a state of its own. And therefore, we shouldn't be talking about 25% in 37 states. But FCT should be treated as FCT. That's another issue. Then we have the issue of exclusion. Till today, a lot of Nigerians are excluded.
Of course.
Till today. Those that were captured on the voter register were never issued their voters cards. And then the second question should be, if I have done my own by presenting myself for registration, why should I be deprived of voting on election day? Even when I have the temporal one. And I know that case went to court. A judgment was given. Did INEC obey it? So some persons were disenfranchised. Then we also come to a situation where some persons were completely disenfranchised in that they presented themselves for registration, they were never registered and never participated. Then I am yet to hear, see and believe that INEC has pruned their voter register. Because I remember the last time I went to vote, I saw my late father's name and my late mother's name still in INEC voter register. And I begin to ask myself, are they qualified to vote even in the land of the dead? These are issues. So what is INEC doing? And is INEC prepared for elections? Why should we go around the same gyrating the same circle and think we are making any movement? As far as I'm concerned, we are not making any movement. Now, by the time some states who are involved in this off-season election gets close, you start hearing INEC shouting, come and collect voters card, come and register. Why must it not be a continuous voter registration and continuous issuance of voters card? Why must we wait for electoral cycles? That is for INEC to answer. And then, if we have BVN, if we have NIN, why should I go to INEC to register? That's another question begging for answer. Because ideally, my BVN should be my date, my age. And my NIN should collaborate with voters, with my BVN to give me qualification for voting. And then why must Nigeria be shut down on election day? Why must Nigeria be shut down on election day? We lost millions and we're losing millions. When we can bring out, okay, this is a voting month. at your time and convenience. Go to XYZ location and then get voted. If banks can synchronize BVN and NIN, and then you can come into the bank and do whatever transaction, can't we get an interface with those banks that an average Nigerian, even with POS, can do voting? Then the question of electronic manipulation also is there. So all these things, by the time you put them together, you begin to ask yourself, are we moving forward? Embracing technology? They will tell us we're embracing technology. I don't have issues with it. But let us see. And then when we are in student movement, we ask that there's one parable we normally use. We will tell you that justice should be done and sin to be done. Sin to be done is where we are in Nigeria. Justice can be done, but is it really sin to be done? Or is it judgment that doesn't have life? Only exists on black and white? So a lot of issues are there begging for answer. A lot of issues. Then we also come to the issue of the process of result collation. That was a big challenge in the last election. Transmitted electronically or not transmitted electronically. So by the time you put all these things together, then you begin to ask yourself if you are actually sane. Because I know some Nigerians are not sane. Because if some of us are sane, we shouldn't be where we are.
Now, when you're talking about INEC doing their own part, what about the electorate themselves, bearing in mind what transpired on the 25th of February this year? How well do you think that Nigerians will still trust the electoral process to go and cast their votes?
Must come with
you understand? So these are the areas where I think more sensitization should come in. What's your take on that?
You move 10,000 persons to pass through a channel that can only take 2. You've done nothing. INEC is the bane. INEC is the issue. Because if you mobilize 10,000 persons to INEC today, INEC will crash. I say, put me anywhere. If you mobilize 10,000 persons to INEC today, otherwise, we shouldn't have been having the issue of when you go to registration center, they say, come tomorrow. The issue is that INEC themselves are not prepared. INEC must come prepared. If INEC comes prepared, then the issues run on its own. So it's not a question of mobilizing people. You can mobilize them and they get disenfranchised. So what have you done? Nothing. The issue is within INEC. INEC need to sit and ask themselves vital questions that will lead to results, not this.
Okay, no, so there's something I want to say. You were talking about electronic, making our votes electronically, just like you have your ATM. An ATM card can be issued to you in UBA here in Oka. You can still use that same that ATM card in Akure and transact money. But your voter's card is limited to a particular location. Don't you think that is a flaw, based on the fact that the last demograph of this election had more youth, you understand, participating, being the largest voting, catchment area? Don't you think that INEC needs to upgrade and make this voting accessible to Nigerians, irrespective of wherever your location is?
You see, Nigeria as a country, sorry to say this, we are all Nigerians. Nigeria as a country has, over the years, produced people that knows the law, that knows how to get things done, but due to their selfish interest, they don't want to do it. Because once they do it, the pump will stop running. I mean, the water pump will stop running.
So you're saying
now
corruption is just the bane?
That is it. Now, if you said you want to use ATM can serve you for 5 years, and it got expired. Voter card can serve you till Kokoronko. That is what it should be. Because once you register...
Once you attain 18 years...
I register, you are there. So once... Even when you are dead, you are still there. Okay? Unless if they want to, checkmate people, maybe upgrade, and see how they can remove people that are dead and incapacitated people or something. But aside that, if the card is being produced and it lasts for how many years? It lasts for 5 years or whatever. okay, just like ATM collapse, don't you think that is depriving some political transactional leaders? It will stop them from, getting more money from the system.
How?
Good. Now, whether we like it or not, this PVC has people that it enriches every time.
Every election.
Every election. Every election. It has people that it enriches. Nothing stops Nigeria from producing this thing permanently. You hold it. You hold it. Even when you don't even have it, you're just like if I registered earlier. Your what's it called? Your NIN can give you what you
access to voting.
Okay, you don't have your PVC. Fine. Place your hand. Pin. Your face or face. You vote and go. So why are we wasting money just to enrich one particular people? So what I'm saying in essence is this: until we shun corruption. Check out even the registration. Check out what is happening in the system when you want to go and collect your PVC. What happens in the field? You see a next person asking you to give me 4,000, 2,000 naira or thereabout to collect your PVC. Is that not madness?
That's if it's available in his office.
If it's available in his office. So what I'm saying in essence is this: they should scrap this present PVC and get us to the latest modernized system of using cards, just like banks. And you see this system, you see we have a huge
At least there will be a purge.
We have a huge success in our electoral system.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So, but we're talking about this off-cycle election. Of course, what we are saying now can be achieved in the short period that we have.
I don't even think federal government has the money to invest.
They have. They have. The money snake swallowed that time.
That's in JAM. That money belongs to JAM.
No, it's not. It belongs to Nigeria. It's Nigeria has it.
Yeah.
Okay. Has it come out?
I don't know.
Okay. Nobody can locate the money now.
But that's paltry sum of 36
So
million
now the
compared
money,
to
the money,
300 and something billion that was invested.
The money they removed from subsidy over years that is entering someone's pocket, enriching just 3, 4, 5 persons in one corner, can give us this. This money they are borrowing. Why not borrow for something good?
Okay. The truth is.
So we have the money. I saw Nigeria. I saw who even say. I think Mr. Governor Soludo said Nigeria is poor. Nigeria is not poor. We have all the mineral resources. Nigeria is one of the richest countries in the world. None of them is. Most of them are yet to be untapped.
And the ones that are tapped are mismanaged.
So that is a problem. So we have money.
And also, I agree we have money, but it's the willpower, and then when the decision will be taken to do that. But we are talking about what we have now, the off-cycle election. I mean, this is something that we plan for maybe when we are going for another general election. So let's see if the INEC will plan towards that. I hope that they are watching us this morning and they are seeing the suggestion that we are making to make it a one-system thing. We don't really need the PVC and also standing on the line waiting for days, months for you to collect your PVC. That we can all do that when we synchronize all. We have the BVN, ATM, NIN, and all that. You can just have one card that you use to operate both in the bank, everywhere, as just your identity card. Now, one of the things that marked the election was the ad hoc staff not performing optimally. Most of them, they didn't even know how to handle the system they were assigned to. I remember that I saw a video where a girl said that she was the person that actually even helped the ad hoc staff to operate the system. Now, the electoral umpire will come and tell us that they train this ad hoc staff. They train them, they go for training for like 2 weeks and all that. And at the end of the day, you see some of them, they will be handling phone like this, their device, they don't even know what to do. And I believe that some of them would have been the cause of what we are facing today. Now, do you think that 2 weeks of training is okay? And then again, the question is, must we keep on hiring ad hoc staff every time we have an election in this country?
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in the sense that no matter how perfect a system, electronic system is, it also requires human supervision. Then the second question is, why ad hoc staff? Why ad hoc staff? If actually we want to progress, we should be thinking along developmental lines and ideals. If youth corps are to be used for election, if NYSC is an established organization whose mandatory duty it is to assist INEC, don't you think that during the orientation process that they should be taught how to use this system? That's what we call planning. So he who failed to plan has already planned to fail. So when you put all these systems together, you think there's going to be hope.
And don't you think they will forget it even before the election comes?
No. Because if batch A comes in and they are trained, they become what we call a bank for staff. Batch C, batch A, batch whatever they call them, and they are being trained. Now we already have a quantum number of persons to be called in for these activities at any point in time, A or B. But what we do is that we wait until rain start beating us, then we start looking for umbrella. And unfortunately, there may be no manufacturer of umbrella, so we'll have to go and import so that the money go get belly and carry picking for hand.
So, but in addition to that, I had one experience in just this concluded 2023 elections, where people were trained to handle
The beavers.
Only to, prior to the election, I think a night before the election, they were all changed.
That's the second issue.
I saw with my two eyes in Aroma here, and I was asking what's this name for? Most of my friends that went for training couldn't finish up with INEC.
But the question is, were they really trained? Let's stop this.
No.
They were not trained. They were not trained. You can't train somebody on that process for that.
Hold on first.
2 weeks is not enough to impact you on the use of beavers.
Someone that attended training 2 weeks, however you want to put it, you cannot compare it with someone you fixing.
Never trained.
You never trained. You cannot.
No argument.
This thing you are saying, experience is also in my polling unit, just a polling unit opposite mine, where a woman was even, that one is writing, please, where is the collation form? Where is this one? It was the electorate that was guiding her. So what I'm saying in essence is this, it still falls down to the INEC. They were the people that changed the people
Are you saying that INEC deliberately sabotaged the process?
They sabotaged it. I noticed that before even the election. I've never worked in an election like this 2023 election, where INEC is not disposed to give out information. Here in Anambra State, the REC here refused to give out information. Call her to partner with her. Don't give us money, but come and share your experience and how prepared you are to the people. She will run away. She even tell you, don't call my line again. Is that how to? I don't understand. So
there was no interface with the electorate and then the people that were meant to even be ad hoc staff for the election.
So what I'm saying in essence is this. The umpire was biased even before the election. So they have chosen side, especially here in Anambra. And I wanted to find out if it happens like that in the other states. And possibly related answers was given to me. So what I'm saying in essence is this. INEC should go back. INEC of 2015, 2019 is different from INEC now. So they are biased. So if they want to work, we are ready to work. Check out where a civil society wrote a letter. Please come to so program. It's part of our activities. Tell people how prepared you are. Let them ask questions and all of that. That is more democratic. That letter was sidelined. Not once, not twice, not thrice. But we went to police came. We went to civil defense, they came. Even when we had a conference that connives with other stakeholders and other states, INEC from other states, we had it here in Oka. Organized by Kajem Young Community in respect of this election, peaceful election in the southeast. where we invited NOA, Civil Defense, Police Commissioner, other stakeholders, youth, and stuff like that.
Student and the rest.
Good. They all attended from other states too. But INEC in Anambra did not come. It's only INEC in Imo came and represented INEC in Anambra. Imagine. And I called the rec. Madam, look at our program, so I should stop calling her number. I should stop calling, this is on air, and I have to say it the way it is. I should stop calling her number. And she did not come.
And this send a
And
representative.
she didn't send a representative. But I even asked her, Madam, please, since you are not around, can you send? I am not sending anybody. What have we committed? Are we not registered with you in the states? And the event was held here in Anambra. He held here in Anambra, Hilton region. So it was mad, and that's why people would struggle to, re-engineer their hope where these umpires are. It's appalling.
All right. If I
Yes.
Let's go back to another issue. I think we've talked about the electoral umpire INEC. They have a large. In fact, we blame them. 90% of blame goes to them. We blame them for everything that happened during the February 25th election. Now let's talk about the politicians. Let's talk about the electorate, because we all have a role to play to see that we get it right this time around. Before the election, prior to the election, we kept on, even here we had programs where we were like talking to people to avoid the vote buying and vote selling. But at the end of the day, money still exchanged hands. I remember that there was a policy, that was when the Naira was changed from old Naira notes to new Naira notes, so that the vote buying issue, that it won't even come up again. But at the end of the day, we all knew what happened. Now, do you see this thing repeating itself in this particular off-cycle election that is coming up on different states? How then can we stop? Can we ever stop the issue of both vote buying and vote selling in Nigeria?
The answer is yes, if the needful is done. Number one, never say na achọwa isi ọchụ ejebe n'ụzụ. Isi aka adịlọ ara agba ofio. The process, the recruitment process, how do these politicians, in quotes, emerge, is where the issue is, and it's still back to INEC and the political parties. Because if a process is skewed to produce defective products, it will always produce defective products. If a system is perfected or made to produce a unique identity or a unique product, it will also come out that same way. If it's meant to produce mass production, the design will tell you. So what I'm saying is, I am yet to see an election in Nigeria where the laws are strictly followed. And then let us see where the defects are within the law, and then return back to National Assembly for amendments. I am yet to see an election where a winner was not declared by virtue of not meeting the three criteria: the highest number of votes and then the percentages. Who worked those percentages? I've been asking myself that question ever since I've been involved in INEC. How did you arrive at these percentages? Where is the percentages? Because those percentages were added to become a necessary check. No rerun has ever happened in Nigeria, except where the court orders for it by. But where on election day you discover that ABC contesting this election, A and B has met this criteria but have not met this one, it has never happened. A winner must be declared since 1999 till death. In fact, I was expecting a rerun in the just concluded election, especially in the area of presidency. Because if you follow the campaigns, if you follow the demography of activities, you will discover that we ought not to have an outright winner.
Based on the results.
Based on demography on ground. There was no presidential candidate then who can tell you, I can get. Some will tell you, yes, conveniently I can get 25%, but it may not be up to the required number of states. Some will also know that we cannot sell in XYZ towns, clans, and therefore, I remember when President Buhari was campaigning for second term, he only told Southeast, I know I'm not going to win there, but just give me 25%. Which is a clear indication that, so the demographics are already there before the election. If we want to be honest, we ought not to have an outright winner. We ought to go for a rerun in that election. That's the simple truth. But somewhere, somehow, the laws were manipulated to arrive at where we are. So the processes is the issue. Now we come back to the issue of party primaries. INEC going to party primaries as what? Authority or observer?
Umpire.
As umpire?
Yeah.
With authority or just an observer? Because those are questions that need to be asked. INEC will come and observe. What is the outcome of that observation is never known. Because the outcome of the observation, if actually they are there to observe, was to print out an outcome. And what is the possible outcome? Was these things done according to law? If not, then revert. But in this situation, whatever is done, they will tell you, even to an extent, they will tell you it's a party affair. So party can sit in the comfort of their bedroom and generate figures and names for persons. So the processes is the issue. The processes determine the outcome. And then that outcome determines the reaction. When I know that this man who is standing in to represent me doesn't have my interest, what next? I trade. You are human. But I only understand that in evolution, each species produces a better of itself. But only in human that we refuse to produce a better species of us. And only in our activities. Because I expect that INEC should be upgrading themselves, as the processes and evolutions of time. But it has never happened. It has never happened. They even find it difficult, as simple as the data with them of participants, which are the electorates. They have not pruned it one day. They have not pruned it one day. So when they tell you we have 1 million voters, I begin to ask myself, 1 million dead are alive. And you are adding figure on top of a figure that it's already faulty. If we don't faulty foundation, it cannot stand. The foundation upon which we go for elections are faulty. And when those foundations are faulty, you don't expect anything good to come out of it. It's very simple. It's just straight. No matter how the volume of oil, honey, once one fly perch on it, it's soiled. One fly perch on 1 million liters of honey. The honey is it's not worth it. It's not more pure. So the processes is where the issues are. It's not the electorate. It's not the politicians. Because if they know that INEC is strict to their laws, then we now know if we have a defective law, we return back to National Assembly for amendment of those laws. The output will become clearer and better. But when you know that your system is already defected, what you now need to do is to shortchange the system. When you're there, university on a degree.
When I'm in Nigeria.
Okay, there we are. You are? Okay.
Well, quickly before we go now, since we're still talking about the off-cycle, off-season elections, where do you think we need to get it right quickly before we round up? What do you think INEC, the politicians, and the electorate needs to do?
INEC.
He's exonerating the
INEC.
politicians and the electorate.
Yes, because the process.
Yeah.
If I am shortchanged, if I am not qualified, I'm not qualified. 10 Gera make 1 shekel according to sanctuary standard. Is it a 10 Gera or is not a shekel? It's very simple. If INEC stands upon their feet and do the needful, then you have the politicians. In fact, these politicians will fizzle out because I know no need to participate. But when I know that I can beat the system, then I already have a faulty arrangement.
I think
INEC.
Okay. I agree with you.
INEC.
When the process is genuine, you have no option than to follow suit. That if you mar the process, this is your penalty. If you mar, INEC has a whole lot of penalties.
Has anybody been charged to court in Nigeria
Nobody has
because of
been
electoral
charged to
issue?
court or even electoral.
A related offense.
Nothing.
Nobody since 1999 to date. I challenge INEC to it.
So if the process is,
I don't think INEC's job is to take it to
So why are they going to court?
No,
They were budgeted 3 billion naira.
no,
for
but
court
they will not take you to court, but they have a place they can channel the reports that needs to, take up
like the case of perjury, like we've seen so many cases of perjury, forged certificates,
and so on.
The issue is that after the election, we have tribunal, we have a whole lot in our hands, so we tend to forget about all those
Other
offences. Yes, we just because.
Do you know that I think that those tribunals.
We produce a leader, and we all agree that yes, this is a credible leader. This is the person that we voted for. I think we will have time in our hands to handle issues like offences.
But do you know that why we go to tribunal is because INEC failed? Why we have that platoonium of electoral.
imagine 25 governors going to court.
Because the process is faulty. If the process wasn't faulty, then we'll limit the volume of money we spend on litigations. Because actually, the system would have, look, exclusion is part of it. And if I'm going for an interview, the interview is by 5 o'clock in the morning, and I come by 9 p.m. Already I'm disqualified. I don't need to bother the interviewers. I have already disqualified myself. So the process is the issue. If we must do primaries, what is the level of the primaries? Direct or indirect? What are the processes of the primaries? If the processes of indirect is X, Y, Z, is he obeyed? If he's not obeyed, oh my brother. And then we see that at the end, some parties may not participate in election because some parties will deliberately not do the right thing. Then we now have, because when I know there is an equal and opposite reaction for whatever action I put in, then I'll be more serious. If my party wants to participate in an election, they'll follow the law and produce a candidate. So you even see that in a process where instead of having 20 candidates, aspirants, we may even have 2 or 3 who complied with the law.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So quickly, also from you. So we are talking about the off-cycle election. So how do we get it right this time?
Okay, I think I will also register that the hope, the morale of the electorates are very low, and as such needs motivation, and that motivations cannot come if it's not seen from the above. The above, in quotes, is the umpire, especially as it's coming down to Imo State on November 11th, which by tomorrow I'll be in Imo State to start up the whole process. Like on Thursday, we'll start up the whole process, engaging stakeholders and doing orientations for young people and all of that towards that. But the morale is low. I think what we should look at now is INEC should try and see the best they can do to redeem their name. That's where to start first, not from the electorate. INEC in question should redeem their name from the mess. Of course, we are going to share it amongst them by Friday. We should be talking to them face to face. So what I'm saying in essence is this: there is nothing would happen if INEC did not take ownership, and ownership in the right direction, to see if the electorates can,
have some sense of, will I say,
hope.
Hope, or will I say, confidence
in them. But I doubt if it will come, but it has to, it has to take time to build. So what I'm saying, we need to, civil society also can, also like us, will also do our best, which we have even started, using Imo State to, to implement some certain confidence among people. Then security agencies. When we are doing all these things, we also need to be talking about security agencies, because once we get things right, nobody will say, I want to disrupt this election. Once we start getting it right, those who may rise up with such a decision will have themselves to blame, because they are the minority. So if INEC begin to engage even the security, sometimes you go to security agencies, they don't even know what INEC is doing. INEC doesn't even relate to them or what. They only know about their personal interest. If REC wants to go, but they are not thinking about the electorate. Even their staff are not well covered.
Quickly.
It's the work of one. The umpire needs to, take charge. 2, the CSOs and other corporate bodies will all fall in one table to make it happen.
Quickly, if I, because the election seems to be the process of electing leaders in Nigeria. So far, so good. So we need to keep making this thing work. Well, what's your take about INEC getting it right this time around? And the
I'll start with the electorate. I remember that in the Bible, it says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. Nigerians, we just have to encourage ourselves and keep fighting. Because we must keep fighting until we get what we want. And then, please, INEC is not the building. The INEC are the individuals working in there. Know where you are doing it right. And then Nigerians cried of Jaga, we have Mahmoud. Well, it's unfortunate that a new broom could not sweep better. Be careful. So the persons in INEC, because when you say INEC, INEC is the persons working in there.
Yeah.
Please redeem your self-image. Give yourself a reasoning, a patriotism. Let it come into your ear. I didn't say flow in your blood now. Let it start by entering into your ear to know that whatever you do has a possible outcome on tomorrow. And you know the funny thing about life? Life is cyclically continued. Today is born from tomorrow. Whatever action you take in one end affects you
Action or inaction even?
in another end. We are where we are today in this country because either we vehemently refuse to do what we ought to do or vehemently refused not to do what we ought to do. So in whichever way you look at it, we are all casualties. And we keep licking our wounds until we are ready to heal the wound.
Well, let's believe the electoral umpire that they're going to redeem themselves because they have their integrity and reputation at stake. And also our electorate, it's time, especially in the state where this election, this off-cycle election is going to take place. Please let your morale not be don't go down any further. Boost your morale, just like Ifeanyi said. We keep on trying our best and hoping that the best will come out of this particular election. From all of us here, I would say thank you so much for joining us on this show this morning, our viewers, and also we want to say thank you to our guest, Ifeanyi Ogunebuna, for being here this morning. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Ubet Anambra, thanks for doing the job you are doing.
All right, and also Oracle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for this privilege. And Imolites, it is your turn. Come out en masse and pick up your PVC.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Chidinma Orama. We'll see you again tomorrow. And from my co-presenter,
It's been a pleasure being of service to you. Thank you. Tomorrow we'll definitely get to do it again.